I hope you're doing well today. This is a complete blueprint to gymnastic ring training. So calisthenics through gymnastic rings. Alright, so let's get into it. This is kind of like a different kind of style of video. It's a presentation, so I hope you enjoy it and get a lot of value from this. Alright, so first we have the blueprint to ring training, right? This is just pictures of me right here. And these are not recent, but they were doing while I was progressing. So that's the first thing. Then let's look at my story real quick, just so you know that I'm a reputable source of information. Alright, so the first picture right here, this is about a year and a half ago. And right here you can see me flexing. And by the way, just so you know, this is not even me starting out, because I didn't want to take pictures when I was young, right? Because I was a complete introvert. I was completely ashamed of everything I did. I wasn't proud of myself at all. And so this picture was only taken when I actually had the confidence to take that picture. So that picture is not really actually the start of my progress. This picture is the picture that I took when I thought I had gotten a good amount of progress. And I'm sorry that I didn't take pictures before this. I wish I did, but I didn't. Right? So imagine this, but less. Imagine this more chubby. Imagine, like, instead of this kind of physique, a little bit more on the waist, less on the shoulders, right? A little bit more like that. Okay? So that was the first picture. The second picture was about 2 or 3 months into working out. And at this point, I didn't really know what I was doing, right? I wasn't thinking about gymnastic ring training. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I just wanted to try to look good, right? So the first thing that I found was, hey, let me just do workouts, right? Let me just do home workouts. And the reason why I did home workouts instead of just going to the gym was because I was an introvert. I didn't have the confidence to go ask people if I could go and work out, right? I didn't have the confidence to let other people know that I was going to work out. I just wanted to appear cool and stuff. So I didn't really tell anyone, and I was trying to work out by myself at my house. And so I just started working out with like dumbbells and stuff. And you can see I didn't really build a proportionate physique. You can still see that even though I was working out like this, my body is still pretty much in the upside down triangle position, and it's almost like my chest is still flabby, and I'm not proud of the physique that I have. It's not proportional at all. And by the way, at this time I had not even done any work on my back. I literally not even known that the back was like a muscle, right? I was not proportionate at all. That's why you can't really see like the V taper here, as you'll see in these pictures. Okay, so then after this is when I was like, you know what, home workouts, maybe they work for some people, but they're not working for me. And that's when I found gymnastic ring training, right? This is just purely calisthenics, purely through my body, and I found that it made me so much more proportionate. So this was like I'll say this is about like 6 months in, right? 3 to 6 months in. This was about another 3 to 6 months, but this was strictly through gymnastic ring training. So you can see I built what I think a really, really good physique here. It was still a little bit curved here, but I'm still proud of the physique that I had built here, and it was just insane progress for me, because for most of my life I had lived, with a flabby waist, with a lot of rolls on my belly, with a lot of fat over here, and I had never had like the definition or masculinity that like I wanted, right? I wanted to have this kind of shape, and I was so proud to take this picture. You can see my lats are, engaged. They look like wings right here. But yeah, I was really proud of the work that I did. So then this is me now, and I've just been progressing through the ring training, and what I've noticed is that I built even more in a proportionate physique. This has slimmed out. Like before it was like a little bit curved here. Now it's here, I'll show you a little more. So now it was a little curved like that, but in here it's more straight, right? And I'm very proud of that, and I feel like I've built more in this area, the top part of my body. So yeah, this is all through gymnastic ring training. These are my progressions, right? This is pictures of me, just to make sure that I'm a reputable source. All right. So the next is, what is gymnastic ring training? What is this, right? What is it? Well, gymnastic ring training is a type of calisthenics. So calisthenics, more broadly, is just it's a type of training where you only use your body to work out. But the thing is, I found that So with calisthenics, it was more restraining because you can do a lot of push-ups. You can do as many push-ups as you want, but it restrains you to like just push-ups, maybe some ab work, and there's really nothing for your back, right? And if you want to do something for your back muscles, which are like literally so important for that V taper right here, like this was only built through my back muscles, right? If you want to build that V taper, you have to build with your back. And to do that through pure calisthenics or like without any equipment, you can't do that. So from what most people do is they find like a bar or gymnastic bar to do pull-ups on. But the thing is, then you only have one fixed position of that bar. You can't do anything more with that bar, right? You can't change the height. And I was like, that's not good enough. I need to have more exercises, more leverage that I can do. And so that's where I developed gymnastic rings. So let's take a look at this video right here. So these are gymnastic rings right here. You can see me pulling up. I'm sorry if the quality's not as good as I want it to be, but this exercise is called a muscle up, right? And I can do so much with these rings here. With a bar, I can't move it, right? If with the bar, I'll just be staying in one position. With these rings, I can move it up and down as much as I want for any exercise that I want, right? So I can come up here, pull, that's a muscle up, and then up here, this is a dip. So this is literally a chest exercise and a back exercise in one. Right, these are the gymnastic rings. So the next part about gymnastic rings is that you can do this anywhere. There's no limitations on, I gotta find a bar here, I gotta find a bar here. Right, the next part and in comparison to like the gym, man, you can do this anywhere you want. Gymnastic ring training is anywhere you want. Okay, any tree, any ledge, anything that you can hook your rings around, that's where you can do it. An important part about gymnastic ring training is to understand that it's about movement and skill, okay? It's not about the actual muscles. In fact, you'll find that the body is the byproduct. You focus on the movements. I'm going to talk about that later, don't worry. So it's about the movements and working on those movements and progressing and getting stronger in those movements that creates the body as a byproduct. So, in the gym where you just like, so if you want to grow your biceps, what do? I want to work on my biceps, so let me do some curls, right? And then you just keep doing those curls. When it gets easier, I'm just gonna put on some more weight. And you start working out with more, like you start curling more weight. Okay. In gymnastics or in gymnastic ring training, calisthenics, you want to be prioritizing the movements, and through those movements, you're gonna change the variation of the exercise that you're doing, and that will make it more difficult, which will make you have more skill, basically, which will make you stronger in that movement, and your body will improve anyway as a byproduct, right? And I specialize in gymnastic ring training. Okay, so just to elaborate on that a little bit, so these are home workouts, and just these pictures are not just like, these pictures are what it got me, okay? Some people have insane results with home workouts, and, that's great for them, but for me, it didn't work, right? I tried very hard, and I was pretty proud of it, but it wasn't where I wanted to be, and especially it wasn't proportionate. Even though I could say I grew my chest a bit, it wasn't an attractive physique, because an attractive physique has to be proportionate, has to be natural, in my opinion. Okay, so home workouts, they're focused on each muscle. You look at each muscle group and like, okay, how do I work on the chest? How do I work on the biceps? How do I work on the shoulders? How do I work on the quads? Right? It's all about each different muscle. It's just bringing the gym into your house, right? That's why it says gym to home. And it says disproportionate. I say disproportionate because even though it seems like you're going to be more proportionate, I'm going to work on my biceps today, tomorrow I'm going to work on my chest, tomorrow I'm going to work on my shoulders. What happens is you are not good enough to, at least in my opinion, you are not good enough to challenge nature, right? Nature will build a attractive physique in the natural way that it's supposed to be built. Nature will build a proportional physique. I don't think that you will have the knowledge to work out enough so that it's perfectly proportionate, right? It's always going to be a little bit off. And for me at this time, I thought my chest was really lacking. And I worked a lot on my chest, but guess what happened? My shoulders didn't improve. It was like I got solely focused on one muscle, and I didn't think about the big picture. And calisthenics, gymnastics ring training especially, is completely like it works out your whole body, but in a way that it makes it so that the muscles that were supposed to be used are used, and that's why it's attractive. That's why it's proportionate. All right, so and then the last part is that you don't get real strength and athleticism, I believe, from home workouts. You can lift the dumbbell, you can curl the dumbbell as much as you want, but will you really be able to move your body in athletic ways? Will you really be able to, change the way that your body moves? Because I'm an athlete, right? I need to have that athleticism as well. And where home workouts were not good enough. I didn't want to just appear strong. I didn't want to appear cool. I actually wanted to be able to do cool things and actually be strong, right? So, and the way that you progress through weight is through weight and volume. And let's compare that with gymnastic ring training. Gymnastic ring training is going to be focused on completely the movements. That's it. It's just about the movements. Your body is a byproduct. You're going to be leveraging your body instead of any weights, so you can take it anywhere. You don't have to take a dumbbell set. You just take 2 rings for any workout, back. You can work it for your pull workouts, for your push workouts, for your leg workouts, anything you want, right? I already covered the proportionate part. Strength and athleticism, it's all about moving your own body, so you're strong with your relative strength. And then you progress through 6 different ways, which I'll talk about later, right? So this is progressing through 2 ways, weight and volume. Weight meaning, you put on more weight, and volume meaning more sets and more reps, right? The calisthenics, you progress through 6 different ways. All right, so you're probably questioning, where do I put the rings? Anywhere, right? This is my brand. I'm all natural. I prefer to work out in nature. Obviously, I don't always work out in nature. Many times I'm just working out. I have a pull-up bar at home, I hang it from the pull-up bar, or I have a mounted ledge, and I hang it from that mounted ledge, and I just work out from there. But sometimes I love to go outside and experience it, and that's the thing, right? I can go on any travel. I can go anywhere I want. I'll hook it up to any tree, right? I love doing that. So another example of where you can put it. So you find any basketball hoop that's outdoors like this, you just hang it right over there. You find any park, hang it over the bar. If you have if you have a garage and you have rafters in it, you can hang it over those bars. But I guarantee you'll be able to find any tree to hook up your rings, right? Any tree that has a branch somewhat like this. So now we're going to talk about the movements, right? As calisthenics is all about movements, there's 3 different types of movements. 3 main different types of movements, right? Calisthenics is mainly dependent on these movements. So we have push movements, pull movements, and then leg and hinge movements. So let's go through each one. So the first movement that we talk about is vertical down pushing. Okay? So let's watch a real quick video. And these are called dips. Okay? So I'm going down. And the reason why it's called vertical down movement is because I'm pushing away from my body and I'm pushing down towards my feet. Okay, I'm pushing if my arms are here, I'm pushing away from my arms in a vertical position, right? And it's not about if I'm vertical or not, it's about how it's in relation to my body. Okay, so for horizontal, I'm pushing away with the rings. I'm pushing out. So this is called a dip. This is called a push-up. I'm pushing out, right? I'm pushing down, but I know it seems like I'm pushing down, but I'm really pushing away from my body, pushing horizontal or perpendicular to my torso. That's why it's called horizontal. Because if you imagine like a person standing here, right? Vertical down this way, vertical up, pushing towards your head, horizontal, pushing that way. Okay? So the next one is vertical up. This is called a pike push-up. So even though it seems like I'm going down, again, I'm pushing towards my head, right? From this point, I'm going to push downwards, but I'm really just pushing away from my head, if that makes sense. So that would be like I'm pushing up. That's why it's called vertical up. So it's always in relation to the body. So these are the 3 different types of push movements, right? And these are the important ones. We don't, in calisthenics and gymnastic ring training, we do not try to work out with the specific muscle. You just try to progress in each of these movements, right? You start at a very easy progression, and then you slowly progress and get stronger and stronger, and your body's a byproduct. Okay, so pull movements, you have vertical down. So in this, I'm pulling. So this is called a pull-up. I'm starting with my hands all the way up, and I'm trying to pull these gymnastic rings down to my feet. right? That's the movement path I'm thinking of, right? I'm trying to bring it as far down as I can. My elbows are coming down towards my feet. That's why it's called a pull-up. Let's watch a couple more. Pulling down. All right, this is called a horizontal pull movement. Okay? I'm pulling towards my body, but I'm pulling across my torso. I'm pulling perpendicular to my torso. That's why it's called horizontal pull movement. Okay, let's watch a couple more. These are called Australian pull-ups. Okay, so then these are vertical up. And the reason why it's vertical up is because I'm pulling towards my head. So I don't know if you saw that, but my shoulders, so right now it's in a depressed position right now. I'm pulling it up. That's difficult. Here, this is the part where I'm using my strength. I'm pulling my shoulders down towards my head. That's why it's called vertical up. Okay, so the next type of movements are leg and hinge movements. So the hinge movement is when you change the position of your body. So if you think about it, like in the gym, like a hinge movement would be like the deadlift, right? And for that, I didn't record this, but so this guy, what he's doing is he's going to push his butt upwards so that his body is in a straight line, right? He'll push his butt upwards. And that's a hinge movement because it's extending his back this way. His legs and his torso are going to come back to form a straight line, right? At first he's like this, but slowly his torso will come back and his legs will go up, right? Hopefully that makes sense. A lot of drawings here. Okay, so that's the first type of hinge movement. And then we have the other direction. So here he's pushing to be a straight line, and with this movement I'm starting in a straight line, and this is called a knee tuck. I'm pulling my knees upwards and crunching. I'm hinging forwards, if that makes sense. I'm hinging together. I'm compressing my body, basically. I'm starting straight. This is where it's easy. And I use the strength to pull my knees up. Okay? Then we have the leg push. And I don't know why I call it legs, but I just feel like it should be different. So because these pushing muscles are not worked in the other pushing muscles, right? Let me talk about that a little bit, actually. So in the push movements, vertical down mainly prioritizes your triceps and your chest, but also, obviously, you're always going to have to use stabilizing muscles through the rings. You're obviously always going to have to use, like, different muscles. You're always going to have to use your shoulders and your core and everything like that. It's always going to touch on almost every single muscle, but the ones that it mainly hits are your chest, so your lower chest and your triceps. So here, the horizontal movement, it mainly touches your chest, but obviously, as always, in gymnastic rings, you're going to have to use your core to stabilize yourself. You can use all your stabilizing muscles. Your whole body's going to be activated, basically. But it's mainly your chest, or that's like the biggest muscle that's being worked, and your shoulders, obviously. And then here, it's mostly your shoulders, right? Obviously, there's always going to be more stabilizing muscles, but the shoulders are going to do the heavy part of it. That's something that I should have talked about over here. So gymnastic rings training, the reason why it makes you athletic and feel strong and actually be strong is because it utilizes all your stabilizing muscles as well. It's not just about, let me work out this one muscle. No. It's all your stabilizing muscles together, and your core is actually strong, and you're genuinely athletic, right? So the pulling movements, so when you pull down like this, you're mainly focusing on the lower part of your back, right here. These horizontal movements, they're focusing on your lats. So lats are going to be right about there. And then vertical up movements are going to be focused on the upper, like, trap area, the upper back area. Right? Obviously, it's always going to use all the muscles, but it's just the ones that are most activated. Right? And it's just a kind of clear idea. So the leg push is different because it's your lower body. You're not using your upper body muscles too much. So that's why I categorize it as different. So the leg push, I'm pushing down with my legs and I'm extending it. So the easy part is when I'm coming down here. I'm using gravity to come down in this way to compress. Gravity is compressing my legs together. And the difficult part where I use my strength is pulling them apart and extending my legs. Okay, so that's the leg push. Let's watch a couple more reps. This is called a sissy squat. Okay, so the next is a leg pull. So with this movement, what this guy's gonna do, I didn't record it, I'm sorry, but he basically, naturally his body wants to be fully extended, right? So, draw real quick. So naturally his body's gonna look like that. His head's gonna be here, his feet are gonna be pretty much straight. But the thing is, he pulls in his knees. So he starts in a straight line and he visualizes himself pulling his heels down, which makes him go to this position that you see right now. So this compression you see here mainly works on the back of the leg, so the hamstrings right here. But, as always, it works on the stabilizing muscles as well. Okay, so now let's talk about progressive overload. And basically, progressive overload, if you don't know, it's scaling, right? You don't just want to have one exercise and be like, oh, this will get me all my results, because that's not true. You need to increase the load not increase the load, but figuratively increase the load as you get stronger, as you progress, right? And that's what progressive overload is to keep progressing, you have to keep challenging yourself and keep increasing the intensity. So in calisthenics, there are 6 ways to progress. The first way is just by working out. And it seems like most people don't get it, but the thing is, with calisthenics and gymnastic ring training, what you're using as a weight, what you're using to, challenge your body is your own body weight. So if you work out and you gain muscle, what does that add to? Your body weight. So then when you work out again, you have to move that muscle too. You have to move that weight, which makes you even stronger. Okay, if that makes sense. So just working out, you will progress anyway. This is just the first way. Just working out, you will progress. But it comes to a point where your strength outweighs how much muscle you're gaining. So that's when you move to the next variation. Okay, so then the next is better form. So in a lot of exercises, I know it seems weird, but in a lot of styles of training, especially like in the gym and stuff, you want to make sure that you're having the perfect form, right? Let's say I'm going back to the gym, to the bicep curl, right? Let's say you're trying to do bicep curls, you want to grow your biceps, and you start doing bicep curls. Let's say you have to swing to get it right. Let's say you have to swing to get it all the way to your chin. But then someone says, wait, no, don't do that. Just grab a lighter weight, which is probably what you're supposed to do, right? So you grab a lighter weight and you do that, and you bust out the reps, and you do more reps, and you have good form. So you always start out with good form. In calisthenics, instead of starting out with good form, even though there are many progressions, when you jump the progression, it's always going to be difficult. It's always going to be difficult for you on the next level of that progression. So let me give you an example, right? Let's say you're trying to do a muscle up, and you've already mastered dips, you've already mastered pull-ups, which happened to me, obviously. By the way, that's the reason why I'm telling you this, I know. So I started with, I could do a bunch of pull-ups, I could do a bunch of dips, I could not get a single muscle up. And by muscle up, let me show you what muscle up is. Here. So this is a muscle up right here. So you start down below, you pull yourself up, and I couldn't get this transition right there. I could do a dip, and I could do the pull-up, but I couldn't get between the pull-up and all the way to my body. Or sorry, I couldn't get from the pull-up to the dip. So that's why what I had to do at first, I had to go with bad form. There were times when I was just chicken winging it, which means I put my one arm and then the other arm. There were times when I had a lot of momentum. There were times when I had to sometimes even jump, right? And it was bad form. Yeah, it was bad form. It wasn't a proper muscle up. But the thing is, it helped me progress to the actual muscle up. So as the days went on, I tried to work more on the form. And what that did was made me better. And then it gave me more muscle activation, right? So that's the way you progress. You can start with bad form in calisthenics. You don't have to always have the perfect form. The goal is to be strong in that movement. And if that means, using momentum to help you out in the beginning, that's fine. But you can progress through bettering your form. All right, so that's the second way. The third way is, this is standard to increase the volume. Volume means reps times sets, right? Let's say I'm doing pull-ups. If I want to get stronger with pull-ups, maybe add another set of 5 pull-ups. Or if I'm, going from the rep side of things, let's say I can do 5 pull-ups only. I can do it for 3 sets. Let's go, 6 pull-ups for 3 sets. And then I do 6 pull-ups for 4 sets, right? That's how you increase the volume. This is just as you would see it in a gym. The 4 is negative reps. So this is the deceleration of the eccentric, right? The eccentric means the portion of the exercise where you're allowing gravity to take over. So let's look at a video. Let's look at this one. Let's look at pull-ups right here. So the eccentric is the part where I'm lowering myself down like that. I can try to slow myself as much as possible, and that's going to be very difficult. Even though it doesn't seem like much, it's difficult because if I focus on that, that's the way I can progressively overload. I can try to slow myself down as much as possible. For a pushing movement, let's say a dip, the easy part, the part that gravity is helping me with is coming down, right? Gravity's pulling me downwards. So that's the eccentric, but I can try to slow this down as much as possible, okay? So that's negative reps. Okay, so that's deceleration of the eccentric, slowing down of the part that gravity is helping you with. All right, 5 is explosive reps. So this is accelerating on the part that I'm pushing away from the earth, the part where I'm pushing against gravity. So let's look at pulling movements. Pulling movements, it would be right here. This would be, if I wanted to make this explosive, I would pull as fast as I can, pull down as fast as I can. In a pushing movement, it would be, after I come down, push up as fast as I can. That's an explosive rep. I'm accelerating on the part where I'm pushing away from gravity, pushing against gravity. Okay, the last way to progress in calisthenics and gymnastic ring training is to go to the next progression. In the gym, as I said before, if you want to grow your biceps, you just keep doing biceps curls, right? You just keep putting on more weight. And obviously you can have different variations, but you can always do every single one of those variations, right? Like let's say you can do a bicep curl, you can also go do a preacher curl. Maybe you might have to use less weight, or you can go and do spider curls, right? Whatever. They're different exercises, but you can do all of them at the same time. Calisthenics, you have to do a progression to move on to the next progression. Right? So I'll give you an example. You have to be able to do Australian pull-ups to be able to do regular pull-ups. Right? And there's a bunch of progressions in between, but just to show you there's a big jump. Right? You can't do regular pull-ups if you don't have the strength to do Australian pull-ups. So once you master Australian pull-ups, you go to jumping regular pull-ups. Okay? So you don't just like, oh wait, let me just do some pull-ups today, let me do some Australian pull-ups. No. You try to do the hardest form of that exercise. Right? Let's say he was jumping pull-ups. You can't just do a pull-up and then you can't do pull-ups and jumping pull-ups. You have to master jumping pull-ups first, and then you can move on to regular pull-ups. Right? Otherwise, you're not gonna have the strength to do regular pull-ups. And I'm talking about the maximum that you can do. Right? If the maximum variation for you is jumping pull-ups, if that's the hardest that you can push or the hardest that you can pull, then you're not gonna be able to do regular pull-ups. Okay, and the final part to calisthenics, to gymnastic ring training, is that you gain a lot of these skills. As I said before, you have the skill and your body changes as a byproduct. So before we were talking about the movements, which were more focused on building the strength. Skill building is a combination of all those different types of, all those patterns of movements. So yeah, I just listed a couple of skills. Obviously, there's going to be so many. This is just a couple of them. So this is called the skin the cat. This is the first one here. And it's a bunch of movements. So first, I'll show you. I have to use some of my pulling strength. So I'm pulling down. So I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'm pulling down with my arms, but I'm keeping my arms straight. Okay? I'm pulling down with my arms. I'm imagining that my arms are coming towards my legs. So that's a vertical down right there. And then I'm also using hip extension right here, or hinge extension to straighten out. So from that position where I was bent like this to come up straight, I'm pushing my butt. I'm pushing myself into a straight position, and then coming down. Here, I'm imagining my arms coming forward in front of me, so swinging like that, and that will push me right back up. So a lot of exercise in there. That's a very basic skill as well. So then the next one I have is muscle ups. So you come down, you pull, you have to make this transition, and then you can do a dip. right? In this exercise, I did a couple dips, but anyway, you come down with the dip, and you have to be able to get so high with the vertical down movement, so high with the pull-up, that you're able to move forward and then get on top of the rings to do the dip. Right here, I have listed a couple. Skin the cat, muscle up. This is a muscle up right here. A forward roll is where you push forward and you spin around. The front lever is when you hang on it and your body's straight horizontal. One arm pull up. So these are all different types of skills, right? And you use the different movement patterns to be able to build up to these skills. Okay, so now let's go to an important part. Why should you care? Right? So the first reason why you should care is you build skills that nobody else can build. You build insane skills, right? I don't think many people can do a muscle up. I mean, maybe some people can do a skin the cat, but I don't know many people that can do a muscle up, right? And that I'm only a little bit through, but obviously I'm progressing. I've gotten a lot. It took me a long time to get to that muscle up, and now I can do the forward roll, but I'm still progressing. There are a lot of skills that you'll be able to unlock that a majority of the population, 99% of the population cannot do. So you build skills that no one can do, and you'll build a beautiful body as a byproduct. It's not going to be like you're just focusing on the muscles and not actually strong. No. You're working on your whole body. You're building athleticism, but you're also building a proportionate body because of that. You're building the body that nature was supposed to give you, if that makes sense. You're building the body that is naturally, authentically how it would look if you were going to be using all of those natural movements, natural movement patterns. Because we're not just, our ancestors weren't just sitting there trying to grow their biceps or grow their shoulders. They were sitting there moving around. And this is a way to mimic that. And what happens is that you build the body that they had. Okay? And then number three is probably the most important to me. Right? When I started calisthenics, when I started this journey, I was a complete introvert. I wasn't proud of myself at all. I wasn't, I didn't have any sort of confidence. Throughout school, I was the shy person. I didn't have the ability to speak to people, and I always wanted to be like in the center of attention, be the person that people wanted to talk to. I wanted to be the person that everybody wanted to be friends with. I wanted to be the guy that could speak to anyone. I wanted to be the guy who could speak to girls. But I couldn't because I didn't have any confidence. And through working out, it built so much for me. It gave me a purpose, a direction, and it really showed me that hard work can give me the results that I want. I built the body, I built the skills that I love, and it gave me the ability to really speak to anyone. It made me an extrovert. I made myself an extrovert. And that's why I will always, always, always advocate for gymnastic rings, right? If you're an introvert, if you're someone who doesn't have the ability to go to the gym or doesn't have the confidence to go to the gym and have everyone looking at you, but you do want to improve yourself, you want to be the guy that people respect, gymnastic rings was the thing that did that for me. Alright, so next, if you are interested, I'm not saying you have to. This is completely if you want to, right? I am working on a coaching program right now. It's not completed, it's not finished, but I'm trying to put it out as fast as I can. And for a brief overview of the training program, you can have over 60 exercises and progressions, all that I've used to build my skills, to build these movements, to build the body that I really respect, to build this body, this proportionate physique that I'm proud of, that gives me confidence. I use gymnastic rings. Okay, so if you want to learn those exercises and progressions, because here I only talked about the movements, right? I haven't told you anything about like progressions, and that's what I go into in this coaching. Like I tell you the basic steps. If you can't do any pull-ups, if you can't do a single push-up, how to go from that to doing multiple sets of muscle ups. I will give you all the progressions. I'm not just gonna say, hey, let's do some dips, let's do some pull-ups, and then let's see what happens. No. I'll start from the beginning. I'll show you how to squeeze the ring, how to turn the ring, how to do everything that you need, right? I'll show you I'll draw arrows, I'll point at it, I'll show you exactly how it should work, right? How to squeeze your muscles, how to pull the ring together, how to visualize the movement happening. So because that is almost more important than just me telling you, hey, do some dips. It's about how you do the push-up that matters. It's about how you do the dip, how you do the pull-up, right? Okay, then we're going to have the daily check-in. I'm going to come in, make sure that you're not getting injured, make sure that if anything is starting to hurt, let's say your elbows are hurting, okay, no problem. We're going to work on spinning the rings, supinating the rings outwards so that your elbow stops hurting. So because okay, let me just tell you, because basically your elbow is connected to two muscles, or more than two muscles, but one of those muscles that can cause pain in your elbow if it's not worked as much as the other muscle is the one that turns your ring outwards, right? This the muscle that supinates the ring. So I say, if you're feeling that your elbow is hurting, no problem. We're going to work on supinations today so that goes away. Work on building up that forearm muscle. So daily check-ins, making sure everything's okay. I'll give you the structure and the exercises that you should do every single day. I'm not leaving anything out. I've already given the exercise. I've already showed you progressions. But every day I'm going to show you this exact structure of the workout that you're going to do. Then you're going to get the complete diet plan. I didn't even talk anything about diet here. But, this is obviously getting you pretty far. But diet is very, very important because you can't, as I said before, it's going to be more difficult the more weight that you have on, right? And if you want to have an authentic physique like I did, exactly how I built it, you need to also have a diet plan to pair with that, right? And obviously the rings are going to be included. You're going to have the rings. And the reason why I want to reach out to you is because I really believe that if you're disciplined enough to sit through a 37-minute video, or a good amount of video, you are disciplined, right? If you genuinely care about this, you are interested. You genuinely want the results. And I'm not going to sit here and just, let you go. I want you to actually achieve greatness. So I want to pair your discipline with my experience so that you can achieve the greatest results that you want, right? Because that's what gymnastic rings did for me. But I had to go through a lot of trial, and I wish that it was a lot faster because I spent a lot of time doing stuff that I didn't need to do, but I thought that I needed it. Okay? So your discipline plus my experience is greatness. So if you want to get in contact, if you want to get early access to this coaching program, obviously I can only coach so many people. If you want to get early access, just get in contact with me. Click the link below and go through that form. So yeah, click the link below if you want to get in contact with me, if you genuinely want to, number 1, build skills, number 2, have an attractive body, number 3, build the confidence to be able to speak to anyone and, really be proud of yourself. If you want to feel proud of yourself, click that link and I'll help you there. So I hope you got something from this video. I hope this was valuable in and of itself, and I can show you how much more I can give to you. Alright, so hope you had a good one. I hope you have a good one. Go out and conquer.